This is Mark Taylor-Canfield, downtown Seattle, at the International Media Center near Seattle Stadium, where the Seattle World Cup Welcoming Committee has put up the journalists, and we really appreciate the nice building here, although there is a strike around the corner from the local 8 hospitality union. It's a strike against a Hilton-owned Embassy Suites hotel. So that's been an issue here in Seattle and has gained some international attention. I wanted to do a little explainer about some of the protests that took place here. Yes, there were protests. Some of them were against the Trump administration, accusing Donald Trump of being a fascist and his regime of being undemocratic. There were also protests in support of the LGBTQ community, because the governments of Iran and Egypt actually filed official complaints with FIFA when Seattle decided to feature their match as Pride Night in Seattle, which was just prior to a major Pride parade and celebration in Seattle that takes place every year. So yes, there have been protests here. The little tiny protest zones, that designated protest zones, which I kind of made fun of, they have not been very popular and no one has been using them. People felt kind of slighted by those. They weren't large enough to hold a lot of people. They are right across the street from the Seattle stadium, and so no one used them. They just marched in the streets and held pickets on the street corners and on sidewalks and ignored that. So I think that was just, the people expressing themselves that they're not going to let their freedom of speech be regulated and restricted in that way. So a lot of people came out in support of the LGBTQ community in Seattle. I did talk to some Egyptian football fans who were here to see the game, who did not support their government's position on that. I also spoke with Iranians who do not support the theocracy in that country. So you cannot judge people, necessarily by their governments, that's for sure. And we know that here in the United States. So that's what's been going on. I just wanted to do a little explainer so people understood what the issues were here. There is the strike that's continuing, so that's a labor issue. And Mayor Katie Wilson, who is a Democratic Socialist, actually, she refused to cross the picket line when she was asked to do a press conference in that building. So they rescheduled that down on the waterfront with our former State Attorney General, now Governor Bob Ferguson, and some officials from the World Cup Welcoming Committee. So yes, that's what's been happening in Seattle. There has been an expression of people's First Amendment rights, an exercise of people's First Amendment rights in the streets. I haven't seen any, pepper spray and tear gas used by police or mass arrest, which was the history of demonstrations in Seattle up until recently. So it seems like people did have an opportunity to express themselves. And the protests may continue. Tomorrow is a major game where the United States is going to be playing Belgium here in Seattle. So thousands and thousands of US fans, of course, are going to be here. There's going to be a big march tomorrow and all of that. And there probably will be some protests there as well. This is Mark Taylor-Canfield for the MTC Report and Democracy Watch News in downtown Seattle at the Seattle International Media Center. I just wanted to give you a quick heads up on the demonstrations and protests that have happened here and what the issues were behind them. So if you click the like button down there, that would be great, and subscribe to my channel. Please support independent media. I really appreciate it. This is Mark Taylor-Canfield for the MTC Report.